Hey guys, it's Marissa, kitchentablestamper.com. Oh, I'm so glad you guys are getting in here. I got a really cute little treat for you here. I guess it's a little box, right? It's a little open top with a flap. And then my favorite little tags set. It's just so useful, this tags, and it goes with the trio of tags dies. I do love that little something for every season there. Got Halloween and then Christmas, winter, and Valentine's. I love it. And then while you're getting in here, getting comfortable, I'm going to take some little grid paper and I'm just doubling it up. Got a basic black Stampin' Blends. This is the dark one. And this crinkled seam binding ribbon, the white crinkled seam binding. And I'm going to take, I don't know, I would say maybe 24 inches of it, and I'm going to make it black. All right, so I'm just going to take the wide end of my dark black Stampin' Blend and get it started, and then I like to just pull the ribbon right through. And because it's black, you're going to have to go back and get any edges that you left white. Sometimes with a lighter color, you can just leave it. It seeps almost to the edge, but with black, it's pretty apparent if you miss the edge. So I'll go back and just streak. But it goes pretty quick and it dries very fast. And it's a good black ribbon. And we don't have a lot of choices in black, especially anything narrow right now. So I love that you can take this crinkled seam binding and make it any color you want to make it. So I'm going to do the same thing now, going the other direction. All right, so there's my black ribbon, and I'm going to let it dry while we chat and look at the other materials. So that's it. Dark basic black Stampin' Blend. All right, so then this was supposed to be like a Thanksgiving box when I started it, but it took its own life. It took on its own life. It ended up being very Halloween. But I started with the paper from the Gilded Autumn, this pumpkin paper, and it turned out really good for Halloween, I think. It's got a crumb cake speckle on the back, little gold. Now my 5.5 inch square has a definite directional pattern, and if you're doing this little treat and it's got a directional pattern, the paper that you want to use for the box has a directional pattern, you need to start with the pattern in the right direction in the score tool at the beginning, okay? Very important. You're going to score at 1/2 and rotate 180 degrees and score at 1/2. All right, I'm going to put it back to the right direction. And I do the did I tell you guys 1/2? 1 inch, 1 inch. And I do the 1 inch, rotate 180 and do the 1 inch, because if I cut this a little hair bigger or a little hair smaller than 5.5, when I score at 1 inch and then I score at 4.5, whatever bigger or smaller this paper might have been is in this piece. So then your box could end up 1/16 of an inch more narrow or 1/16 of an inch more wide on the one side. Do you understand? So although I can do the math and I know that 1 inch and then 1 inch from the end is at 5.5 is 4.5, you'll get a tidier box if you do 1 inch, rotate 180 and do 1 inch. All right. Now we've got our paper. We're going to go one to the right. We're going to score at 2 1/4 and at 3 1/4. Now this is the front of our box, and it has our directional paper in the proper direction. Now let's go ahead and burnish our score lines and trim. All right, got my snips and my tear-in tape. Hey Delene, happy Friday to you too. And we're gonna go ahead now, and from the edges of our box, we're gonna cut in, take out the score, just a tiny little dart, debulk. Be careful when you pull. And then on the opposite side of the box too, stop at this intersecting score line. And that's really it. It's a pretty simple little box. It's how we close it up that's going to be kind of fun. So the front of our box is going to have the pumpkins up. So we want to make sure we've got the front. And on the inside of the front tabs, we're going to put some tear and tape. So your tear and tape is going to go here. And then your tear and tape will go here. See? I'm going to do both sides the same. Outside of the small tab, inside of the large front tab. Same thing on the other side here. There it is. Now these dudes will go in first. So we'll take off the small tabs. They're going to go to the inside of the back tab and form the bottom of the box. So here's our inside tab. Our back comes up. You get a nice smooth bottom there. Same with this side. Now we got most of a box. Let's peel these guys off, and then the front goes to the back so that your seams will be along the back of the box and everything's nice and tidy. So we'll get these guys off of there. And there is our box. It's a cutie. I love this paper for Halloween, this pumpkin one with the crumb cake and the gold. And then there it is all decorated. Let's go ahead and pop our little brownie in there. It'll give us some resistance. See? All right, now the top of our box is this largest stitched scallop rectangle. I die cut that one from Basic Black, and we used the Stitch So Sweetly dies, and it's the largest one. So here's our chart. It's hard to believe it because the box is so little, but it's the Stitched So Sweetly, and it's this 4 1/8 by 2 15/16. It's the big guy. All right, let's make it into a little closer for our box. We're gonna need the Simply Score tool. And so this is about 4 1/8. So what I like to do is slide it so that we kind of have a little 1/16 of an inch here. And then we're gonna score at, there we go, 1 5/8 and 2 5/8. Now this 1 5/8 score, that's the back of our box. So let's grab some tear and tape, put it along the back. And then we'll work this other score line. The front is going to end up just the tiniest bit longer, which is what we kind of need to fit that tag in there. So there's the top of our box. Bring this guy back in and this guy. And that's going to sit right in there, centered. What do you think? Isn't that fun? All right, let's see here. All right, so the tear and tape is removed. I'm going to drop my box, make sure that I have an equal amount of space from each of the corner to the scallop there. And then once I've got that, I'll just burnish it down. And there's our box. Now we need our beautiful ribbon here. I'm going to cut this off the spool. Oh my gosh. Look at how dull my paper scissors are. They're bouncing right off the ribbon. Get my brownie back in there. Now, tags, tags, tags. Let's do some stamping here really quick. I've got the little Halloween trio and the trio of tags die. And I want the little jack-o'-lanterns from the trio of tags. There's our bits. Now, somebody put this away without weeding it out. I'm afraid that it'll make an ugly cut if I don't just pop them out. So there. So you guys know I've been crazy about this little basic black Stampin' spot for my paper pumpkin for Halloween stuff. That's what I'm going to use here. You can use your StazOn or your Memento Tuxedo Black. And I've got a scrap of Very Vanilla. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go this way. Looks like it'll work out better. I'm going to get my little boo. Ink it up with the archival black. This is if you got the old Stampin' Up archival black pad, this is that same ink, and I think it gives you a darker black. And I'm also inking the top edge of each of the other designs and the bottom edge, because that's how you line up your die. Got some little grid paper here, protect my Stampin' Pierce mat, and let's stamp that tag. There we go. Ethel has the old retired archival. That's the one. It was really a great ink. It took a little while to dry. Sometimes it smeared a bit, but it's a great ink. I also, I love my Memento, but it grays out a little bit on Whisper White cardstock especially. So I've been really holding on to this archival spot. My archival black pad, the full-size one, looked like somebody stepped on it. It was no good. I don't know what happened to it. All right, I got Happy Boo from Me to You. And before I die cut it, I'm going to take my Stampin' Right and I'm going to color in their face because I want the little jack-o'-lanterns to have some contrast. And it's easier to do it right now before you have to do it with a little loose tag, or try to do it after you put the Cajun Craze pumpkins on top. Okay, so I got my little jack-o'-lanterns, and they're off the bottom of the screen here. There we go, let me put them in. We can run them at the same time as long as we keep them out of the way of the tag die. And then we're going to use the edge here and sending and this little candy edge to line up our dies. Because when you put this tag die on the center tag, whatever it is, this one that does this like more classic tag shape, you can't tell where to line it up. You really need those landmarks of the image above and below it, but you don't have to cut each image every time. All right, need a number 3. Let's cut this one out. Lisa says she has a friend who doesn't clean her stamps. Isn't that very interesting? I know some that do too. They just put them right back, and I can't stand that. I don't want my fingers to get all covered with ink when I take them out of the case, but I don't really care too much if they stain. They still stamp well as long as you take good care of them. But I know that people are either one camp or the other. They want them perfectly clean, as little staining as possible, or they don't care too much. There's no middle ground really there. So we got our little Happy Boo from Me to You, and our tiny little jack-o'-lanterns. Wait till you see how cute they are. I mean, don't you just want to put that on everything all Halloween long? I love those guys. It's one of the things that really attracted me to this die set was those little jack-o'-lanterns. All right, back in the one we're working on and our sample, and I need some multi-purpose liquid glue. Let's glue these little guys on. I just love this tag. Oh my goodness. I have a thing for tags. Has anybody noticed that I kind of like tags? Especially ones with itty bitty little jack-o'-lanterns on. Hee hee. So we'll just put that guy on there. If you look really closely at this little guy, you'll see that I paper pieced his face back in. So I cut the jack-o'-lanterns out of black and Cajun Craze and then paper pieced the face back in. Needless to say, this looks really cute too, and it's far less fiddly work. Some things are even too fiddly for me. Not much though. Fiddling soothes my soul. All right, gotta pop out our little thread loop there. Now, black dimensionals. These are my buddy, especially this time of year. I'm gonna cut some of these and give them a little bit more mileage. I like half a dimensionals. You want to really avoid this area where you're gonna thread through the paper. All right, there's our dimensionals. I'm gonna peel the release. Lisa says from banner year, you're on to me, Lisa. Yeah, that little squirrel, isn't he so cute? I can't help it. I'm making some thank you cards and gonna use that little squirrel. All right, so here's my black ribbon, and I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it around the box. I got the brownie in there, so it's giving me a little bit of weight and resistance. And I think I got, I don't know, a couple of inches too much. So I'm gonna try and save some of it for another project by just pulling it. All right, now I'll cut this guy off. That should be enough. Here's hoping. I get dependent on tying from that spool. Estimating is not my strong suit anymore. All right, so I got my little tails and I cut them at an angle. I'm just gonna put the angle cut, from the back to the front. All right, then I'm gonna pull until it's nice and tight. Now when you open this box, you can pull the ribbon out and then open. Then you can thread the ribbon back through and retie it. I love a resealable treat box, something that doesn't have to be torn open. I feel like I work so hard to make them cute. It's nice when they're resealable, so you can untie this, thread out the bottom one and open, get the treat out and then tie it back up. So there's our pretty little crinkled seam binding bow. It's just a little creepy, like for Halloween, don't you think? These are the metallic pearls. You get 242 little metallic pearls and gold and silver. So these are a lot of fun and you get a lot of bang for your buck here. Let's go ahead and sprinkle a few of those on. Of course, I'm not going to torture myself with trying to pick them off with my fingers. Got my take your pick tool. And I'm going to go ahead and add those. Let's see here. I want like a triangle. I like to go down one corner and up the other. I'm not very good at placement of these little things, so if I always do the same thing, works once, always works, you know what I mean? Anybody else just repeat what was successful? That's how I am with these little sprinkles and pearls and things. I'll do a triangle this way and a triangle that way and call it a day. There it is. There's my happy boo from me to you. If you've got any questions about the project or the products or anything I can do to help you stay crafty, you can email Marisa at kitchentablestamper.com. And to shop Stampin' Up 24/7, buzz over to marisaalvarez.stampinup.net. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great weekend. Bye.